What's up, everybody? It's Clark here for the BOS Sports blogcast. Here's the Hawks. They are the talk of the town. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Braves, they're still figuring things out. After 10 games, they are 6-4 against 3 teams that will all likely push around 90 losses, with the Athletics and Diamondbacks being a potential 100-loss team with concerns of their own piling up. Very concerning situation, what we have watched over these first 10 days of Braves baseball. Meanwhile, the Hawks, they're in 5th place in the East and have 4 games remaining in the season, with a 2-game lead over the 76ers and Raptors, as well as a 2.5-game lead over the Hornets. The Hawks, they hold the tiebreaker in the season series over the 76ers, having swept the season series. Meanwhile, the Raptors, they swept the Hawks. And the season series that ended in early January. Certainly the Hawks did not look the same as they do now in early January. But the Raptors do hold the tiebreaker and could potentially be consequential there in the final standings. Final game for the Atlanta Hawks is April 12th. So we'll know by 13th, a week from now, where their chips lie. Both potential first-round matchups look favorable for the Hawks, as they have had success versus both the Cavs prior to rebuilding, shipping out DeAndre Hunter, that is, to the Kings. The Hawks, they faced Cavaliers early in the season as well. The Hawks, they look much different than they do now. But, of course, the Cavaliers themselves, they shipped out DeAndre Hunter, who they traded with us for last season, to the Kings, as well acquired James Harden. We will see the Cavaliers twice down this final stretch and on the 8th and 10th, as Hawks have also had success versus the Knicks, other first-round potential opponent. They're having the 3 seed, the Cavs, the 4 seed. We're playing the Knicks tomorrow night. Hawks-Knicks tomorrow night is their next game. The Hawks, they've had success versus the Knicks. They faced them within about a week's time there, over the turn of the new year. And the Hawks won out 2 of those. Of course, the Knicks, they were coming off of that NBA Cup championship, and they were a little bit unfocused at times during that stretch. And of course, the Hawks, much different roster, not the bona fide juggernaut we know the Atlanta Hawks to be today. And since then, the Hawks have majorly improved, while the Knicks, of course, becoming more consistent after those lapses after the NBA Cup run. But Hawks overall have improved more than the Knicks, and significantly so since that time. And certainly a team that you like the Hawks odds against there in the playoff series. So still, it will hurt tomorrow night having to try to win the game, potentially spill strategy ahead the series, with Hawks having games left to play as well versus the Cavaliers. Got 4 games left. It's going to be pretty tough games there for the Hawks. So really, they could wind up there with either that 5th or 6th seed. You really don't want to slide in the play-in tournament there if you're the Hawks. The first round rolls around. Both teams will know each other pretty well between the Cavaliers, Knicks, and Hawks. 3 games out of those 4 remaining. There's not going to be a lot of secrets between the Cavaliers or Knicks or Hawks. Going in the first round of the playoffs there, they'll know each other pretty well. Jock Landale, big news of the week. Unfortunately, hurt earlier this week on that dirty play by Goga Bitadze of the Orlando Magic. He should have been suspended. Absolutely sucked. Had adapted out under David Stern, he absolutely would have been suspended. Adam Silver's been a little bit too lenient and not running tight enough ship there. And I would imagine the Players Association, they'd be in on that too. They don't want players getting injured on malicious plays. So that's a potential point that everyone can come together on. So for the Hawks, Jock Landale was a key depth piece, banging on the inside and the front court as well, having a good 3-point stroke. That really made him playable on offense, as he really doesn't do much else. They're not a very great paint scorer. But having that 3-point shot, that really helps with Hawk spacing. He could really play with almost any lineup, which is a compliment. What they are feeding these and as well, he's even hitting that 3-point shot was Jock Landale after he had the shoulder impingement. in the Hawks' overtime victory over earlier this week. Jock Landale, playing with a dislocated shoulder and all, still hitting those three-pointers. What are they feeding these Australian basketball players? Jock Landale and Dyson Daniels seem absolutely indestructible. I got to start trying to pound some of that Vegemite myself. So without Jock Landale, Hawks did play Christian Coloco there 4 minutes the other night. They are looking for answers there in that front court. They also had a pair of transactions over the last week, signing Tony Bradley, front court player, as well. They waived Caleb Houston. A little bit of confusing move, but I guess the Hawks saw fit to do without him. The Hawks need one of Tony Bradley or Christian Coloco to step up and play some minutes here. Final 4 regular season games. I like Mo Gay's ability to play backup 5, looking at a potential playoff scenario matchup versus Cavaliers or Knicks. He is 6'11", as well. Mo Gay's been bulking up physically last few seasons, really more noticeably this season. Been doing a good job getting more physical there on the inside. Got pushed around a little bit early in his career. Now is quite a force there in the paint. As well, Mo Gay's a smart defender, and I think he'd be fine against either Cleveland Cavaliers or Knicks front court. Even with Karl Anthony Towns, he's quite a force there on the inside. And yet Koglu, he'll have his hands full. Try not to get in foul trouble. Mo Gay, you probably cover. You'd probably look at Onyeka and Koglu pushing high 20 minutes. They're 28 to 30. Mo Gay potentially covering 15. So even in a playoff scenario, you might need a few spot minutes there to give both those guys a bit of a rest. Tony Bradley, he did play some for the Pacers last season in playoffs. A few games, I believe 11 appearances, averaging under 2 rebounds a game. That's... So, need him to step up. He is playoff eligible, having been waived in January. So he meets that deadline to become playoff eligible, even having been signed here in April. So we'll talk about a little bit more about these points. Looking forward to the Atlanta Hawks' potential first-round matchups here and more. This is the BOS Sports blogcast. So, looking forward to Cleveland Cavaliers versus Atlanta Hawks later this week. Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley were both out in today's game. They're both managing injuries. Evan Mobley, he had a upper calf injury, a lower leg injury in January. He's still nursing it a little bit as well. Jarrett Allen dealing with soreness, more viewed as moves preparation gearing into the playoffs. Precautionary moves, getting them rested up, all that good stuff. Potential first round matchup the week after next, eventually versus this Atlanta Hawks team. But they did play the Pacers today, did the Cavaliers, and of course they'll have a much tougher opponent both Wednesday and Friday versus Atlanta Hawks team. We'll see who they roll out. They make them available. Really interesting what they did. Of course, they also picked up Dennis Schroeder, the deadline. Using a little bit more Max Strus and as well. So we'll see how these two teams match up Wednesday and Friday. We're going to take a quick break here. This is the BOS Sports blogcast. So congrats to UConn and Michigan, who are competing for the national championship tomorrow. Michigan center Day Mara, who had a 26.9 rebound game and huge victory for them over, I believe it was Arizona. They won over. He's certainly coming on my radar for the Atlanta Hawks in upcoming draft. He'd help the Hawks with a physical presence above 7 foot in the paint and create that easy under basket paint score that the Hawks are missing right now. You like, of course, several guys right under the rim. Jalen Johnson, of course. Love having Jalen Johnson right under the rim for a score. Onyeka Kagu, he's pretty solid as well. Mo Gay. But we really want a presence over 7 foot who's hard to block by other the taller centers in the league. Of course, looking at potential matchups further down the road versus players like Victor Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren, Nikola Jokic, if they somehow make it. You really want to have a presence like that and compete with those teams out west. You kind of need that. Now, there's potentially a path for the Hawks to carve out in this Eastern Conference to not need that. Get out of the East. The East is every team's got their quirks and their weaknesses where they can be exposed. And Hawks certainly have shown that they have ability versus both the Pistons and the Celtics. But really, those matchups versus those West teams that are absolutely loaded as well have size on size on size. And the Hawks do too. Just they're missing one potential piece. And Daymar could potentially be it. He's projected early second round, late first round, within that range. And well within the range of the Spurs pick, which the Hawks do hold 2 picks, both the Spurs pick in 2026 draft as well as the Pelicans pick. Looking at other potential options around the league, free agency this summer, you got Walker Kessler, had a season-ending injury earlier this year. And he's a restricted free agent as well, but might not be a long-term fit viewed there in Utah. See if they potentially move on from him. But that's still not a lot of options. Ode Mara is an intriguing option there for the Hawks. Continue to track him. The high Hawks draft pick, we're going to have to wait till May 10th. Seeing teams get really sharp with this draft. So hoping for players to fall later on if the Hawks are potentially get like an 8th pick, 10th pick, and not have a very good lottery. Not much hopes of that. Feels like every year the NBA teams, they're getting sharper and sharper at picking guys. Not missing out on guys. Of course, there's exceptions every year. But last year, teams were very solid, of course. Sixers, Hornets, they both pounced on VJ Edgecombe and Non Knuckle. A little bit ahead where they were projected. And they absolutely scored big on them. Both in conversation for Rookie of the Year. So the way the NBA draft is trending, really got to see after that May 10th lottery where the Hawks fall to potentially dream about who the Hawks might get. But there's certainly the Cam Boozer, Ty Basta, certainly a bolsterous draft class here in 2026. A lot of players to be potentially excited about. So over to the Atlanta Braves, who are struggling right now. Fortunately, unlike the Atlanta Hawks, who are doing pretty nicely right now. The Hawks, certainly, they make it out of the play-in. That's about exactly where we want them to be. With the East being as thin as they are, we really dream about hanging our first banner up there, our first Atlanta banner, as far as not a division title. Of course, would be an Eastern Conference championship. Would be very happy with that outcome, even if they were to fall in the finals. A lot of tough teams there in the West. And it could be a launching point for the Hawks being contender for the rest of the decade if they were to go on that kind of run. So, over the Braves, 6-4, being over 500, much better start to the year than last year. I was a little bit over optimistic about all these 3 teams that we faced so far this season. Coming into the year, Athletics, Royals, young players clear to have plateaued. They're not doing as well as hoped for. For example, Nick Kurtz really struggling, sophomore slump, 148, 0 ribbies. We'll see how he breaks out of that later in the season, but their whole team really struggling. Wilson, Shea Langoliers, of course, he had a few big hits, but really not doing as well as we thought they would for the Athletics. I thought they'd maybe have a little bit of an upshot year. I think they really going to be pushing potentially 100 losses. We saw it, they were lossless until they faced our team. Started out 0-4, and then they faced the Braves and got a victory. How many times did we see that last season? We were the get on track team. We're the 2025 Atlanta Braves team. I'm still hopeful that they still become an 82-80 team as I predicted. I'm not completely concerned. I'm not writing off the Braves as a 90-loss team. Very concerned with the start. Bobby Witt Jr. to hammer home the point of not being over optimistic about these early opponents. Bobby Witt Jr. as well, hitting 242 start the season as well. Their rotation kind of looks like a mess, does the Royals. 3 ribbies as well for Bobby Witt Jr. A lot of people had him up as potentially being a top player in the league. He's only been around for a few years. He's had some hot moments for sure, but is he really an established, bona fide MVP player every year? To be determined, especially after a slow start like this. So we'll see if Bobby Witt Jr. turns around. Along with their own guys, Austin Riley, biggest contract in Braves history. Doing awful so far. Ronald Acuna Jr., he had that great World Baseball Classic. Also did so many other guys, and they're struggling as well. Michael Harris, second. Oh, I'd hate to see it. Really falling into his same old bad habits at this point. We saw him swinging at balls way out of the zone today. I believe one I'm thinking about with wrist situation, it way down the zone, and easy ground out, bailing the pitcher out, swinging at a pitch like that. Matt Olson as well, decent numbers to start the season, but a lot of concerns for him. Got to dive a little bit better into his wrist numbers. We'll do that in post this week, looking at a situational hitting. As from memory of the games, watching him not look good for Matt Olson. Whenever he's up there in a situation we need him to pull through, he does not. But really, that was my argument this whole offseason. Since July, I said that they should have added a top of the order caliber hitter to slide these guys down, or at least hit behind them or something to make this lineup more deep. We really have, if top the order pitchers and catchers can really play around, carve out, and get out of situations easily. That's what we're seeing again this year, just like last season. And we're seeing it versus 3 of probably the worst teams in the league so far this week. Marlins are hot. They beat, looking at their stat line again, they beat the Yankees again. They're doing pretty good. Phillies have turned it around. Mets are doing pretty good. They're solid. A lot of concerns for the Braves. Potential 4th place finish for the Braves this season. So, hoping after Thursday night's bludgeoning, maybe the Braves had flipped a new leaf. Concerning signs we saw prior to that were just flukes. The loss to Royals and Athletics. But likely not. Really have to give a lot of credit to Drake Baldwin. We've had a lot of close wins as well, and he's had great game calling and as well. I believe have brought out the best in some of these pitchers. They're getting through narrow situations. Jose Suarez struggled a little bit. Martin Perez struggled a little bit. But overall, a decent performance. Got probably more out of them than expected. I was really expecting kind of blow-ups from did not quite do that. I think that adds to what Drake Baldwin is doing this season. Absolutely stellar season so far by Drake Baldwin. He keeps this up, he should absolutely be face of the league. So, today, just recapping the loss. Braves, they drop a heartbreaker 5-6 to the Diamondbacks. Split the series 2-2. Diamondbacks are not a great team. Their pitching is not good. And we struggled versus that. That's not a good sign. Their lineup, I thought they would be better than I think they've shown to be. And so really, in that West Division, you're looking at a 90-plus loss team. So it'll be interesting. We could very well be under 500 right now with some things going against our way. One or two plays going differently this way could have been looking at a win. But I would still have these concerns either way, even in a close victory. So it's going to be a very long year watching Braves baseball. Spencer Strider and Sean Murphy, reinforcements on the way for Atlanta Braves. Viewing return. They can return to their former selves, so it would make a big dent in the Braves' need for talent in their roster. But honestly, that seems like a pipe dream for what we've seen from them last season and from Strider in the spring as well. Drake Baldwin, he was 3 for 5 tonight, 4 RBIs. Drake Baldwin is the future for the Braves. Absolutely great bat-to-ball skills. I don't think that bat will go away, as we've seen other Brave stars, of course. The big one, Austin Riley, after he signed that contract. Ooh. So the Braves are really in a critical situation. I'm not sure what they do. Ha-Seong Kim, he'll come back. But, I mean, Jorge Mateo and Mauricio Dubon, they've been getting some hits. Tom Smith has been getting some hits. If it's Ronald Acuna Jr., Matt Olson, Austin Riley hitting collectively under the Mendoza line, then that's some tough treading for the Braves. And you can't just have Drake Baldwin carrying the team the whole time. So, if things continue this trend, you might have to consider the Braves doing what the Atlanta Hawks did at this trade deadline for Atlanta Hawks. Of course, the Atlanta Hawks had completely rebuilt around Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, Onyeka Nkagu, Nikhil Alexander Walker, shipping at Kristaps Porzingis, bring in Jock Landale, a more reliable big, it's more available, plays more games, more durable. Bring in Gabe Vincent, solid guard that doesn't do too much, doesn't turn over the ball, doesn't do too little too. As well, they brought in C.J. McCollum, stellar scorer, passer, playmaker, clutch scorer, high percentage shooter. And the Braves might have to consider rebuilding around Drake Baldwin. As what's the point of being a 80-something win team year after year with the potential that he has? And as well, you got to look at the young pitching. They have a lot of potential as well going forward. Schwallenbach when he eventually gets back, and the guys they have on the farm. So, tough start to the year. So next series is versus the Angels here. Coming up, we're still on West Coast time before they come home versus the Guardians next weekend. Drake Baldwin, 300 average start the year. OPS of 1. Slugging percentage, .625. Got 4 home runs already, 12 RBIs. Matt Olson, decent numbers, 289 average, 372 OBP, 951 OPS. Michael Harris II, 225 average, 569 OPS. Jorge Mateo, he's got a 429 average. Wow. Ronald Acuna Jr., 194 average. Austin Riley, 176 average. It hurts. Absolutely does. These are our favorite players. We want to see them doing well. Meanwhile, we're watching Dodgers absolutely tee off on the Nationals and other teams having a lot of success, our rivals. So, some struggling top performers today around the league. Brent Rooker, he had a 6 RBI game for the Athletics. Potential turnaround there for Brent Rooker. Ryan O'Hearn, newly on the Pittsburgh Pirates, a 4 RBI day. They added Connor Griffin, and now they don't quite seem like the sleepy Pirates offense anymore like they were last week. When I did a season preview, I thought they'd be sleepy all year, not bring up Connor Griffin until it's too late in May, but they made a good decision, good move there, brought him up, said screw service time manipulation, let's get Connor Griffin up. And that was a brilliant move by them. O'Neal Cruz also feeling the juice. 3 RBI game for him. James Wood, he's had another nice start this year. Nationals have been fairly solid. Their pitching comes and goes, though. They'll be a tough opponent again this year. Tough matchup for this Braves team, how they're stacked, unfortunately. Michael Garcia, can he turn around? He had a little bit slow start as well. 2 hits, 3 RBIs. Shohei Ohtani, 2 hits, 2 RBIs today, including, I believe he had a home run today. So before we go, had a couple great moments earlier in the BOS Sports blogcast this year, including a great tribute to Stuart Scott and Kobe Bryant. Of course, we're nearing the NBA playoffs, and hard to remember NBA playoffs without them. So here we go.
Hi, come on, I'm all about the low main. You know?
How you doing? Hey, what's up?
Looks like I do not have that queued up properly. So here we go. Braves Cardinals, April 22nd at Truist Park. Here's Scott Blewett versus Nolan Gorman. Top the first inning. Gorman, of course, had the key hit in the 8th. First pitch, foul, 84.7 mile per hour slider. Despite his potentially comical name, Scott Blewett has been solid for the Braves in his 3 appearances so far. His last 2 have been scoreless versus the Rockies and Diamondbacks, combined 2.1 innings. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Fouled, coming straight back at me. Ooh, landed right below me there. Thought I had a chance. I'm pretty high up there, so. And that was 84.1 mile per hour splitter. Scott Blewett has Nolan Gorman down the count early here. This would be the only game where Scott Blewett has allowed runs so far for the Braves in his 3 appearances. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Ball, 93.8 mile per hour fastball. We now have 1 ball and 2 strikes. Blewett went 3 innings, allowed 4 hits in this game, 2 runs, 2 walks. This is the only strikeout here. 1-2 pitch. Another ball, high and tight, looked like. 94 mile per hour fastball. 2-2. The count is now even. Nolan Gorman, aforementioned, 3-run RBI single top of the 8th, break the game open. Ugh. Tough for us Braves fans that game. 2-2 pitch. Ball, 85.4 mile per hour splitter. We now have a full count of 3-2. Cardinals would score 6 in the last 2 tops of the innings on their way to the 10-4 victory. It was not a fun game. I booed pretty loud. 3-2 pitch, swinging strike, 84.3 miles per hour. I was booing. All those runs came across the plate. I booed as loud as possible. I booed for 10 people, if that is possible. The best two times of the year to go to Truist Park are in the spring early and in October when it's cool, nice temperature for drinking beverages. In the 60s, 70s kind of temperatures there. It got a little bit rainy. I don't mind. I like a little bit of drizzle. And here we get some Braves batting average. Braves batting action. Here's Jared Kelenic at the plate versus Andre Palante. Bottom of the second inning. First pitch, swinging strike. We have Orlando Arcia there on deck. And here comes a 1 pitch. Might have been the 0-2 pitch. It looked like a ball in dirt there. 1-2 count. 87.3 mile per hour slider. Palante gave up all the runs for the Cardinals that day as Cardinals bullpen was scoreless and Palante gave up the 4 runs. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Foul ball. 94.2 mile per hour fastball. Jared Kelenic, he was just sent down to AAA today. Tough news for Jared Kelenic. 1-2 pitch, another ball. Got an even count on 76 mile per hour knuckle curve. Beat writer Gabe Burns was quoted as saying in an interview from Jared Kelenic that he was in high spirits and looking at it as an opportunity. So hopefully that's a positive thing. Hopefully he comes back strong. The Braves will need outfielders in the second half. They'll need position players, even with Ronald Acuna Jr. coming back. Can't wait till that happens. And so here is now the 3-2 pitch. Full count. Foul ball, high and tight, 95.4 mile per hour fastball. Tough news with Jared Kelenic being sent down to AAA. Aforementioned, hopefully he comes back strong. Andre Palante and Orlando Arcia, he's there in the batter's box. So Kelenic, he would on a 3-2 pitch ground out. I wanted to mention Arcia is standing quite a far ways outside of that on deck circle. It's something I noticed all game. The Braves hitters were a little bit further out than I've seen them before. You've seen us do that a little bit more situationally, but this game they were often out there. So it was a nice game otherwise, other than the blown lead. Don't remind me. The one game I get to go to in the April. And so I got the general admissions ticket. I like to move around whenever I get that. A few different upper deck sections. I got to check out the outfield, get some pictures there. Don't like to get on my phone too much, but I got a little bit of pictures and video. And so here we have an Austin Riley at bat. Alex Verdugo just doubled and got on base. And Austin Riley's about to drive him in here. So we got a ball there. I believe we're on the 2-2 pitch now. And we got a ball in the dirt, which allows Alex Verdugo to get the third base. Full count. Here we go, Austin Riley up the middle. Single scoring, Verdugo raise up at that point. Getting the Braves a 3-2 lead. Would not be the last run that Andre Palante gave up on the day. Unfortunately, did not get either of the home runs. That kind of stunk. Can't take a video of the whole game. Have to sit there and enjoy it. So here, 23 Braves division titles. Can they win another one this year? The Mets, they have quite a way to catch up the Mets. Of course, the Phillies are in, but the Mets are having some drama up there with one of their players they signed in the offseason. So not everything is ideal for them. There's definitely some room for the Braves to catch up, and the Phillies as well, if they want to get into it as well. away trip to Truist Park here, and I hope to make it back. I'll definitely make it to some portion of the All-Star game. Yep, could not queue up the Stuart Scott Kobe Bryant tribute with audio. I have to work that in next week if I can remember. Sure, stream previous episode, BOS Sports, as was included. I don't remember the episode number, unfortunately. So, it's a good reminder. Be sure to stream previous episodes of the BOS Sports blogcast. I'll be back next week after Hawks Heat, the final game of the regular season. Hopefully we'll get an idea of the playoffs shortly after that game. Be sure to stream Tangible Jazz Dreams music. Be sure to stream Bar of Soap music. I'll see you next Sunday.